That's really very good. So, you see, provision is a long word. Inside the provision is a vision. So if you actually, instead of you running after provision, run after a vision, and then provision will be automatically embedded within your vision, okay? So let's look at a practical example. You are in this room today, and you know, in the morning I also mentioned the fact that what is important is the value that you create is what you bring on the table. Yeah, you still remember that? So you are in this room this morning or this afternoon now, or for the whole day, and some of you will be part and be benefiting from a project. This, you know why? Because somebody or a group of people sat down, they had a vision, and the vision was, okay, we want to train female in STEM, all right, and they put their mind and every effort into it. They submitted a proposal, and that proposal brought about what? Provision. Does that make sense? And it is the provision that is paying for all of you to be here. Does that make sense? And it's the provision that hopefully will birth vision in some of you for your future. So you can see how vision in provision, but actually there is provision in vision as well. Because it is that, the fact that you now have provision to be here, to bring experts, to collaborate, to have partnership, people that you wouldn't have met from University of Ife or Ilorin or BC Onabanjo and so on. They are here because there was a vision that gave room to provision, and that vision then helped you to begin to birth vision. And you know that your vision, the new one, if you actually... So once you give them, you kind of develop the vision, it brings birth to another provision and so on, and it never stops. Does that make sense? So what Prof. Ibirun, the VC, was saying earlier, I just think it's also good to clarify the way projects kind of work, is that you are playing, if you like, a game, and you are playing a game in which you are not writing an exam. You're actually contesting. It's not an exam. An exam is, there are questions, when you score 70, you pass. So if there are 300 people in the class, if 280 people score 70, what happens to them? They all pass. Yeah, so that is an examination. A contest is when someone says, well, you need to pass, but actually I only want to pass 5 people out of 100. What that means is, even when you get 70, it doesn't, you are not guaranteed you are going to pass. You just need to pray that nobody else, not 4 people don't get more than 70, because if you get 92 and 5 people have 95 and above, you will not get anything. So that is what project proposal is about. So you write project concept, and it is not usually what your idea is. Always somebody that wants to pay for it, and they say, well, I have this money, I want to train, or I want to develop X, Y, Z, and this is my own concept, this is what I want. So you then need to write something that is in that, they call it a call, that is linked to that call. So this call, for example, is, say, training for people generally. So if you write a proposal and you say, I want to train everybody, you might get maybe 81, all right? And then you will get rejected. But strategically, because nobody is trying to train female, if you then say, okay, I want to do female and I want to do this, your score goes up, because why? They have received a lot of funding that is for everybody, and they know there will be more male and so on. So you strategically, you write your proposal in a strategic way. That's number one. So that will answer some of the questions that you ask as well. Number 2 is that then you submit and hopefully you get it. But you see, your project needs to have clear aim, a big overarching picture, and then you need objectives. When you have objectives, then you need deliverables, meaning, okay, you said, I am going to do X, Y, Z. What am I paying for? So when I pay this X £100 or whatever, what would I get? The person that is paying you, that's called deliverables, okay? And the cost is linked to that as well. I want to train 10 PhD students or 10 female students or something like that. That is a deliverable. That means at the end of 12 months, they want to see 10 people. Okay, train, because that's what they are paying for. Does that make sense? And then, like I said, cost is linked to that, and they want to also see that impact on somebody. Is it impacting on the society? How does it impact? So you look at impact, and then you need to tell people. It's called dissemination. You then need to publish paper about it. You need to do different things about it. Then something called exploitation. Exploitation means, okay, this thing that you have developed, can company use it? People outside of the university, can they use it? That's where patents come from. You discover something, you try to protect it so that you can sell it and things like that. That's exploitation. There's communication. Now you are doing it. How would the rest of the world knows about it? So you put it on social media, on YouTube, and so on and so forth. But one thing also I just want to address before we go into what I have this afternoon is additionality. So additionality means, okay, I have got this funding. You asked me to do, I promise I will do 10. I will be marked based on that 10. But nothing stopped me from doing 20. Nothing stopped me from doing 30. So those additional ones are additionality. And you see, next time I want to create another provision with my vision by writing a proposal, I can actually quote those additionality. Look, the last time you gave me money, I promised you 10, I delivered 20, I delivered 30. I said I was going to do 10 females, I actually do 12 females, but in addition, there are 8 males that are very interested in this. We did that. That's additionality. We actually give you more money next time from the same funding body. I hope that's clear. Good. So artificial intelligence. So you need to be aware with proposal all the time. Somebody is paying for this. So it's not free. It's not a joke. So it's not the same as your lecture room. You go there, you sit down and lecture. Where you don't go, it doesn't matter. If you, no. It matters because someone paid for it. So you need to account for every penny. So I think one thing I would suggest with Professor Abinu is that actually going forward, maybe we need a proposal clinic to train people on how to actually write proposal. It's something we want to add as additionality into this project. And in addition to that, that we train people that actually while you are attending this, maybe you begin to learn how to submit proposal, from your own university, from your own team for future grants, okay? So, you see, success has so many cousins, all right? Success has a lot of cousins. Because this is successful, we are all here, we all enjoy it, and in fact, we can be asking questions, why is it that they didn't do that? Why is it that you can criticize it, but somebody worked hard for it? You see, if you want to shape that, remember the game I told you? Start as an apprentice, as you become a master, change the game, all right? If you don't like perfectly what is going on here, you don't want it to be fit, but for female only, write your own proposal, make it male only. In fact, you can say male that is tall. Whatever, you understand? But somebody wrote this proposal. In order for them to win it, they have to be strategic and they have to have a vision, and the vision needs to be specific. They chose to train female and they have to account for that. I hope that's clear. So, lastly, about artificial intelligence. So I was just thinking about, if I'm very warm in this room, I can do this. Is that allowed? Yeah. So I actually can just fan myself. For how long can this keep on going? So this takes intelligence. What I've just done here takes a lot of intelligence because I've picked a paper up. I didn't pick fire. Yeah? I didn't pick a sharp object, and I'm doing this because you cut my face. I picked a paper. Yeah, and I know how to twist my hands. You can see that because I want some winds to come around me. That takes a lot of intelligence. So for you might think, what's the big deal? Well, cut one of your hands off, then you will know it's a big deal. All right, so this takes a lot, your eyes to see, to pick, to twist, and so on and so forth. But how long can you continue to do this, by the way? Imagine as you stand here since morning and you are doing this to feel cool, all right? But something is upstairs doing it for us. All right, something is upstairs doing this. And if we have a lot of money, we could actually put AC here, run the whole thing off, and we wouldn't even hear any noise, right? So artificial intelligence, I think the point I'm trying to make is already here. Okay, it's been here for a long time. What has changed in the way we can use, this is hardware and so on, is the way we can use software to make this happen for the future. So there's nothing really scientific or computer science or whatever about artificial intelligence, like Prof said. It's just about what is it that you want to do and you want to optimize. So it's about optimization. By optimization means I am doing this and I want to go and sleep and let something else do it. Simple. Or I want to do it in a better way, or I want to use less energy, and so on and so forth. So you can use artificial intelligence in any way. All right, so most of us, we go around, we see people in our community, whether older than us, our colleagues, our friends, and so on, and all you think about is what you can get, what you can get, what you can get. After a point, they will be fed up with you. But when you go to people and you know, kind of like she said, she volunteered to work after her degree. She actually worked with the supervisor free of charge, you know, just to develop herself. And the rest is history now. She's in top 5 university in the whole world, full-fledged scholarship. Actually, the scholarship, because she just had a baby, she got a full scholarship. Just talking about equality now, they paid her to look after her children, her daughter. So if the money has extra funding for when you have a baby, so that it can be looked after by somebody else when you are in your classes. So I think it's just a great story to show everyone that it's possible. So question at Ishegu is online. Is currently in a meeting online as well with her team. So she might be able to ask questions, answer your question, but Shegu is live online if you have any question for them. Yeah. So if the question is about, can we collaborate with them? Let's not ask that, because that's easy. So the video is available. You can watch it as many times as possible. The emails are, they are public figures. The emails are all there. All their papers are out there. As you heard from Inni, for example, Inni went online. Apart from the husband is an expert in IAI, but not in chemistry. She went online on Google and started looking for expert. She got this guy in Cambridge, and said, okay, I'm doing this for my own graduate effect. Eventually, it was this gentleman, professor, when there was an opportunity in Cambridge, that forwarded the opportunity to her. Okay, so your vision will make provision for you. Yeah. So questions. Okay. So while we are waiting for the question, I just wanted to say something where I was talking about principles of life in the morning. So one principle I would like you to take away is a principle of being a crab. A crab in Yoruba is akon, right? So one of the characteristics of a crab is that crab is not necessarily proud, but crab take authority. It finds itself. Yes. Okay? So when you go to anywhere or you are part of something, there is no humility in you trying to be gentle and say, I will just be a passive audience. Because actually what you are, particularly for female, this is very common. So there will be a noise of, they are not giving us opportunity. Okay, there's opportunity for you now. Common question you cannot ask. You understand? So you have to take authority when there's a space created for you. Like in her case, she even went and created space when there was nothing. All right? So when there's an opportunity for space, takes the space and let people know I am here. Okay? You are in the office and you have so many mail all around. All right? They have only one mouth. Bamidele says at the back of Guardian, read it. There's a quote that says, blow your trumpet. Yes, because otherwise nobody will blow it for you. Do you know why? They have only one mouth and they're using it to blow their own trumpets. So they are not wicked. It's not that male are wicked. It's just that they want to survive. He wants to feed his own family as well. And then you sit down there and say, see, Mr. Karim is not happy. Why can you stand there and say, I am here. I have PhD like you. I have master's degree like you. You understand? And okay, so part of it actually is coming forward to ask questions if you are not clear. Does that make sense? So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I really thank God that my encourager, someone who encouraged me just close by me here to be here. Actually, I'm from the background of humanities. And I've always been passionate about this term of a thing, because when they write a research proposal, they got the thing very easy. So I've always been finding my way in. And maybe a brief to my background. I'm in linguistics. And I've been in linguistics from my own undergraduate, master's, and PhD. But along the line, I got discouraged because people will ask you, what do you think you can do with linguistics? Then I'm asking this group today, what are you actually making use of, if not the language? So I kept moving, even despite the discouragement that, look, I know I'm relevant and I want to find my route. So when I was writing my proposal for my PhD, I proposed that I want to investigate how Wole Soyinka and one other person translate Igbo Olodumare. And the whole department was agog with laughter about me. I was like, am I doing something wrong? But they discouraged me. I dropped the proposal. I said, I'm not doing anything. Over time, I just said, I'm not doing anything else if it's not this. So I went somewhere else. I took admission and I was given. But I can't thinking of my background. My children are at home. Why will I stay out of the country? And I came back, picked the form again. I said, this is what I want to do. I did it. Not 2 years after, I got several opportunity to translate for some people, to do this and that. So eventually I said, thank God I was passionate. I'm saying this because I want my students to learn. Yeah, one other thing is I've been online encouraging my students on the platform to join online. You know, only one person has joined. And here are we in linguistics. You give topic to students to go outside, to go and find out about a particular language. Wallahi, their project had always been in the shelf. Nothing comes out of, even as a lecturer who supervises and you want to even benefit from it. So I want to find out from you, how can I be of help? Because with this 8-month strike, I was asking a student, thank God we are resuming. He said, Mommy, do you know I can't remember the definition of linguistics at 300 level? And I said, it's not a lie. From the system, if not because one is passionate, someone is at home for about 8 months, he's already there, distracted, looking for money to make ends meet. So I don't know, how would I be relevant and useful?
Thank you very much, and thanks for the encouragement. Can we give her a round of applause? Because so I think that's particularly useful for your experience to share with those who are coming behind. You don't give up. Okay, you don't. People will push all sort of things at you. Actually, half of them are envious of you. They are envious of the fact that even you have a dream because they don't have any, or because they have a dream, they drop it, they want to kill yours. So you don't want to join them. So when you go to somebody who is trying to discourage you, go to somebody else who is more positive. If that person is negative, go to another. You will find someone that will help you. Just on the area of linguistics, I think if Shegun is online, he may be able to answer that. But I belong to, even though he was my PhD student and then postdoc, he moved on to a different department. He got a job with computing department. In that department, they actually, people like you, all they specialize is using AI, and they've been doing this neural network to analyze language, by the way. That's what this, and they are in the department of computing, not in linguistics. So because just look at example, lie detector. If I want to know somebody is lying, there is already a hardware that does that, but software could do it better by trying to look at how you speak, your gesticulation, and so many things. I finished my PhD and I did postdoc at Lancaster University, for example. There was a particular year, I think maybe 8 or so years ago, linguistic department has the best impact in the whole of the university, and the reason was a woman, a professor, went out to look at the impact of accents on learning. All right, so how can we, the way people speak and there are different accents in English in the northern part of UK, how does it affect learning? These are human beings. They go out doing sampling and getting data from people. All right, what is that? That is intelligence. Artificial intelligence can do, if they have done one village and it takes them 3 weeks or 1 month to do that, artificial intelligence will do it in 2 seconds. So the only thing that artificial intelligence is doing for you is you can increase in volume, you can increase in speed, and you can increase efficiency. And again, the fact that human beings sleeps and they get tired and they're emotional, artificial intelligence is not emotional, it does just and get the result. Okay, so it's very, very applicable in art, for example, drawing, and also you can use that to know the difference between one art and the other. That okay, this guy, based on all the art that he has, he drew this. Okay, and therefore it costs this much. So there are so many things you can do with that class. It's called, like Shegun was saying earlier on, it's basically classification. So an expert will look at a drawing and say, well, this is by Michelangelo. Oh, this is by this is by that. What are they doing? They've studied this for 10, 20, 50 years, and they are using their memory and learning to say this diagram belongs to Michelangelo. Software will just look at it, bam, and say, well, this is, and you can be rest assured it's more accurate than what man can do. And that is to just tell you, it doesn't matter whether it is mass communication, whether it is health, in medicine, in what, like you just told, Shegun talked about heart, yeah, the heartbeat. Doctors go around, they put stethoscope or what is it called in your heart, and because of that they know if you have problem or not. AI will do that faster, better, and so on. So you can see how you apply that in medicine. So thank you, man, that was really good. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, sir. I actually don't have a question, but I want to speak to her. And speaking to her, I could have called her separately, but I wanted everybody to hear what I have to say. My name is Sekinat Folorunso, and the only thing I've been doing since my PhD is AI and machine learning. But now in Nigeria, we have so many artificial intelligence communities. We build, we sustain. So just like he has said for natural language processing. So we are talking about linguistics. We use that now. So there's this movement we call Indaba X. Indaba is deep learning Indaba. It's an African thing. And what we do majorly is we build machine learning communities everywhere. I am the lead for Nigeria. And for the whole of Africa now, we are trying to domicile AI. And we have done a lot in that area. So now talking about NLP, we have a body we call Massacre. So that Massacre, what they do is that they take in a lot of African things and turn it to AI. I belong to Women in Music Information Retrieval. I've done something on Nigerian songs like Apala, Fuji, Juju. I'll show us tomorrow. I've done something like that. So now she's in linguistic, and linguistic is a good part or a major part of natural language processing, which is also an aspect of AI. And Massacre, every country now, they are doing NER for their country. They talk about their language. They talk for different languages. So even Ghana has it. Then for Nigeria, we have some Igbo people trying to translate or building AI models that can detect the way we speak. You know, like now when somebody listens to me, you know I'm a Yoruba woman talking. So then also translates our proverbs and probably so many things, even our song lyrics. So we can meet up later. I can join you with Massacre because they're actually looking for people like that for research. Sure. So what we do now is that we localize AI for individual communities, that is countries. So Nigeria too, we are coming up with that.
Thank you.
So,
sorry, your name again and which university are you from?
I'm from Olabisi University of Goiwe. My name is Dr. Sekinat Folorunso.
All right, now thank you very much. That was really awesome, very good. And I think Professor Abino, if you are here, she definitely need to be a committee of the mentors on what we need and how to take things further. So really, at the end of the day, it's about partnership. So I would say for those of you that are here, try and grab as many of the experts, talk to them. AI is a tool. We can't even overemphasize that. It's just like you have a pen and you write. So you can use that pen to write English, you can use it to write medicine, you can use it to do pharmacy, whatever you want to do, you have to write. Anyway, it's a computer, you type, your mobile phone. So it's a tool. It's not really linked necessarily to so in terms of how it's developed, it's linked to computer science and mathematics, but in its application, it's applied to anything. Okay, you can use it for whatever you want. Okay, that question. Thank you very much, Dr. Sekinat.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate this lecture that we've received from you, and it has really helped me a lot because I'm a new student in the university, and when I got to the university, my OHD called me and he told me that we have AI in submit, robotics and other things, but I didn't know which one to go for. So calling for this lecture has broadened my horizon. Just with one example that you gave, I would have loved to cite that example, but due to time, let me just go straight to my question. The first question I have is that the VC made mention of something in the morning. He said it's usually people from poor background that rise from nothing to something. So what has always been the problem of the rich children? Because looking at the environment we are, this university is a private university, so we have more of rich children. So what is usually the problem and what is the solution? That's one. The second question is that, okay, for artificial intelligence, we've talked about several areas that is applicable. So I want to ask, what level can one get to, or what skill can one acquire to be regarded as like an overall artificial, I don't know whether it has a grade or something, or anything you are doing will just be an affiliate to artificial intelligence. Second, and the third question is regarding this project that we are launching, that the school is launching. Is it more of building researchers or people that will be writing proposals, or they will also be enlightening on how to convert their research to like they can implement it?
Okay.
Because I'm thinking that if it gets to a point that we have so much researchers and not less of people to implement this research, what is being like much researchers, nothing to be done about the project?
Good.
So maybe I should stop with my question.
Well done. Can we give him a round of applause? That's good. Good question. So I will start with the third one. Tomorrow I'll be talking about what research is about, really. You know, how do you build a research portfolio? And you will find out that research portfolio is not about paper. So there are 5 P's to P. So there's paper publication, there's pound, which is writing proposal and getting money. There's PhD completion, there's mentoring people, there's profile building, and there's prestige, there's leadership, there's influence. There's so many things in academic life. And when you do all that and it doesn't have impact in society, it's useless. And that is why everything that you ask for, they are all in the package. You train people to understand what AI or whatever topic is about. Excuse me. They need to write paper to prove that actually they are doing quality research. They also need to show that, okay, they can bring money that pay for it, for, you know, their vision should be able to attract provision. Excuse me, water. So their vision needs to be able to attract provision. And of course, they must make impact in real life. And most you make impact in real life when whatever you have in your head becomes something that people can use. So it's all of them in one. So the second one, I think the question, what was the second one? Okay, AI. I mean, I think let's not overthink AI too much. So just look at AI, like I said, is a tool, and what you become in that tool is how far you want to go. So if you, okay, sorry, thank you. You don't want to be like, okay, AI, the best in medicine, the best also in computing, the best AI in cybersecurity. You'll be jack of all trades, you know, because there's not even time for you to be best in all. So you will need, like Dr. Shekina said, she is going more into like classification, things like music and so on. So if tomorrow she wants to go into medicine, she will need to actually learn a few things about medicine again, all the way from scratch, working with in partnering and so on. So it will be a choice of what you want to do, all right, in terms of how much you specialize. So the last one, I put this as the last because my answer is philosophical, and this is a belief that I hold, okay? So it's not necessarily what we call the gospel. It's not necessarily like the best answer, but this is my own philosophy, and this is the way I kind of live my life. For most things that I do, I have an underpinning principles that governs them, okay? So let's talk about rich and poor children. I don't believe that. I don't actually believe there's something called rich or poor, people from rich and poor background. And the reason why I say that, we explain it, is really that at the end of the day, we are all rich and all poor depending on how you look at it, all right? So for a boy who, because his background, the only thing, you know, when you look at it, our problem is that it's called monolithic ideology. So we use one parameter to measure everything. So we measure richness by the fact that your father has a lot of money. What the father has is money. Money is one parameter to measure everything else. So the guy that you think his father doesn't have money, but he's very streetwise. He's rich in intelligence. Sometimes a lot more than money. Does that make sense? So really, I think rich or poor is a function of the mind and how you apply them. Does that make sense? So so if you say, okay, how can we? So that's my foundation of how I look at this thing. So let me go to your question, which is really, how do you help people generally? I would say the poor financially should see that poverty as an area of weakness. And what you want to do is identify your area of strength that can address things that will kind of solve your weakness and make you better in life. You see, when you have money, financial money as well, the problem also is that there are so many things you will be losing. All right, so I don't know whether I should give personal example because of time, but okay, I'll give you an example. I remember growing up, I told you that I sold newspaper on the street. The implication of that is that I was not around on Saturdays, because that's when I could sell newspaper, and sometimes Sundays as well. During the holidays, I wouldn't be around because that was what I was doing, and I was enjoying it. By the way, I didn't even see myself. I was much older when I realized, oh, okay, I was actually doing it because, to be honest, we were not well off. Okay, but I didn't think about it as a young person. Does that make sense? But you see, that taught me a lot of money management. It taught me about planning and taking responsibility for myself. It taught me about not depending on nobody. No uncle, no auntie, no nobody. You can't talk to me anyhow. I make my decision at age 16. All right? Now, you might have financial support from everybody, and your father or your whatever continue to tell you how you deal with your wife or your husband at age 40. It's possible, right? Because actually you have not even learned it, because they've protected you in many, many ways. In which case you don't even know. Even you are afraid to go out. All right? Now, that is not always the case. There are people that their parents, and I have even a few friends like that, their parents are very rich. What they have done is that to see, look, this is money. But money alone will not get me anywhere in life. Okay, what are the skills that I go, instead of me sitting down in front of telly because the money is there, and I watch telly all Saturdays, all Sundays, and all that is in my head is football and music and everything, those things will not get you a job. If they get you a job, they will not get you promotion at work. Okay, your dad can get you the first job. He's not going to be the one to do the job for you. Does that make sense? So the same way, however, even when you are financially poor, if you don't do anything about it, you will continue to be poor and you propagate poverty. So the fact that you are poor financially does not mean when you sit down, suddenly you will tap that the day. In fact, a lot harder than for you. All right? So what I think the solution is that as a person, be humble. Okay? Humility will help you to assess yourself where you are. Yes, I am privileged because my father can do X, Y, Z for me easily. And because my father can do that, he can also make a few phone calls and do this. But what are the disadvantages of that? Go ahead and compensate for those disadvantages earlier in life. Parents also should do that. Get your children to start working early. Let them know. I do it for my son. For example, he's working. Actually, today is Monday. I'm not sure. But he's working on Friday. He's only 16. He is not the money that he needs to eat. It's because I've been sharing with him a long time. When he was 10, I said, bro, when I was your age, I paid my school fees. And I will say with attitude, can you pay your school fees as you are now? And we joke about that. Okay? So now he does it, not because of money, so that he can go. So when I pick him up sometimes in the evening, we have a chat. How is it going? And he will tell me some things about the manager. He will say this thing. I say, thank God, this guy is learning now. Why? Because some things I said at home that he might think is me, because somebody else is saying to him and so on. So that's training. In spite that you can afford it, you give them the opportunity to learn right skills that they can use out there. Sometimes it's not the kids, actually, it is the parents that have started it from the beginning. When you start going out, by all costs, you want your kids to pass at all costs. You've helped them in ways where they should be the one to sit down and work very hard. You are the one building that, shaky foundation for them. So it goes with the society and the expectation of the society. Your father is this, therefore you must be this. There's no rule that says my father is a doctor, I have to be a medical doctor. There's no rule anywhere. I may not be capable. So leave me to live my own life because your own parents leave you to live your life. So it's not straightforward money. And to finally answer, summarize, don't measure richness by money alone. So some kids are out there selling moi moi and akara. They are very, very rich intellectually. All right, very, very in the pocket. They may not have money, but they have vision that can bring provision to their pocket in the future. All right, and if you have a lot of resources and provision today, and you don't have a vision because somebody has protected you too much, then there will not be provision tomorrow. Why? Because you lack vision. And what happens with this thing is that there's a continuous iterative process of vision give back to what? Provision. Provision give back to vision, and so on and so forth. So you have broken it somewhere. Okay? And money is not the only factor. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, and just to add, sometimes actually when you look at the richness too, it's very relative. Again, I saw this growing up, again being a teacher now, is that actually sometimes the people that we think are rich, they're actually not rich. even if you are using money alone as a yardstick, the only point is that they are richer than the neighbor. I better pass my neighbor. That's the yardstick. Because when you really see people who are rich, okay, so I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, was it Tanzania earlier in the year, and we're talking about somebody who was with us. So these are like British. So the guy told me, he said, oh, that guy, he's really rich. So, and I said, well, how rich? Because the guy telling me somebody else is very rich, in my opinion, he's like super rich. So if you are now telling me this guy is like rich and you are doing like this, what does that make me? I need to be begging you guys for money. But you see, he gave me a very simple. He said, look, you and I, what we are is middle class in British kind of system. And I will explain here. It's here, it's everywhere in the world. He says, you earn good money. Like him, he's bigger by far than me. So you earn good money from maybe what you do as a job and so on. But your money, the money that you have, that you spend on your children and your family is directly linked with what you earn now. If you stop working or you stop earning money at a particular point in time, maybe it could be some people it will be 6 months, some it will be 1 year, some it will be 3 years. If your money stop, bam, and you don't get it, the money will finish. He said that person is a middle class. He said you are rich and upper class when your money can never finish. And I'm not talking maybe you have stupendous money. It's just that you have tied a lot of investment in diverse kind of sectors that even if water come, carry half away, you still have order to live. Many times the people that we think are actually rich, they are not in that category. They are middle class. Middle class means if something happened to you today in one sector of the economy, you actually come back to the people that you say are poor. So again, let's be mindful of how we look at rich and poor. Thank you. Your microphone. Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for the last minute opportunity. I'm Dr. Marufat Odesunde from the Department of Medical Rehabilitation, Obafemi Awolowo University. I am a physiotherapist by profession, and I had many years of clinical practice before I came into the academia. During the course of my clinical practice, there are so many questions that I've been, willing to find answers to, but the clinical workload will not allow me to, research into it. So when I joined the academia, there are so many things that I was interested in doing, but I narrowed down to a particular area called tele-physiotherapy, the use of ICT to treat patients. So in my own little efforts, I ventured into developing a video home-based exercise therapy for stroke patients. Video, because it's the most preliminary aspects of tele-physiotherapy that is applicable to our setting. Using of video, just like home video, the patients look at the video and mimic the exercise, and we are sure that he has done the correct thing using the correct instruction from professionals. But it is not just enough to limit to that level. So I thought of developing applications to create exercises, reminders, instructions, education, and all the other stuff. Now, the use of artificial intelligence is another area I've been curious about. But during the course of the presentations, I've been opportune to learn, to pick some points that this is about getting data, creating prediction model. Now, I was lost. Where does intervention, treatment come in? Does it have to do with the use of developing application? Is AI connected with app development? Are they the same or they are different? How does this come in to suit my purpose?
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Very good question. Thank you very much. Thanks for the contribution. I think, again, let's not overthink AI. AI is just simple. The way to look at AI is, what is it? Just ask yourself, what do I do now? Okay, so I collect data from this man that is jogging or he has stroke. There are things that you want them to do. The question you ask yourself is that how do you measure that they are doing it well? How do you do it now? Yeah? Is that maybe you collect video data or you collect the data of their speed or heartbeat, whatever that you collect. And then there's a way you currently analyze it, whether you just say, okay, if it is 7.5, it is good. If it is 7, AI will do it for you. So instead of you having to rack your brain that anytime that this man has 7.5 over 10 in jumping and 3 over 7 in this, that means hyperlemma, poporompo, you know how you call your medical complicated things, right? AI will be able to do that for you like that. All right, so it's about data collection and optimizing and things that maybe you cannot do because you are human, right? It will be able to do more by cross-correlating data from diverse resources. It will also be able to do, if you have data from just one person and you want to see, does it relate to people in China, and you have data, you can also compare data, you know, which we do as humans right now. We already do that by writing paper, comparing it, we do it quicker and faster. That's the only thing. So your question about is it in application is in any aspect of it that you want to make a decision. AI helps you, decision that human make. AI helps you to make that decision. So if you look at somebody now and I can just look at your eyes a bit red, there's a bit thin in your face, there's something, and that means you have malaria fever. That's what I've just done as a medical doctor. AI will look at that and do it instantly with less error than you. Why? Because you actually tell AI in the first instance how to do it. But AI use so many data, okay, to train itself that at some point it's now able to do it better than you and faster than you and is not tired. It doesn't go to bed and sleep and so on. It doesn't have bad day. So, but we can take, actually I have my senior, like I'll call a mentor in Manchester. He did exactly the same thing. He's a professor, physiotherapy professor. All the stories that you see, that's his story. He was in the medical field for a long time, studied at University of Ibadan. So he's now in my department. Actually, he's the first black professor in my university. Your Professor Fatoyi, you might know him. Okay, you might know him. He's quite popular. So yes, I think you can basically use AI for anything, particularly in the area, because you're already very close. You're already using ICT. ICT already gives you data. It makes things very easy. Prof, listen. Okay, yeah, I hope that's. Thank you. All right. Good. Oh.
Good evening, everyone. My name is. Good evening, everyone. My name is Prof. Department of Biochemistry, Summit University. My name is Prof. Department of Biochemistry, Summit University. Please, is artificial intelligence related to in silico studies? In silico studies. In silico studies.
Okay. What is in silico study all about?
Network pharmacology.
What is network pharmacology all about?
So actually, I can answer that question. And this is, I was going to say this earlier on. I was going to say this earlier on, but it's good that she mentioned that. You see, the world research is now going to a new level called interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary research. So this is, excuse me, can we please pay attention so that we can, let's have one room. Let's have one house, please. So it's multidisciplinary in the sense that actually somebody in physiotherapy, there's medical doctor, there's computer scientist, and you have security person, everyone in the same room. So you have all these nucleomynology, what do you call it? And somebody will call another cyber, different things. And they come into the room because you want to solve societal challenge. A challenge is usually not straightforward. So if a policeman takes a woman and say, oh, this woman, you have done this to your child, typical British one, and this is the reason. Actually, there will be so many reasons to that woman's anger towards her child, and it hit the child and got hurt, right? Could be so many things. So it might be medical, it could be financial, I've just lost my job, it could be so many things, all right? So you need multifaceted way of approaching it. So in terms, just to go to your question, yes, whatever that technology is, AI can do it. Right? But your role will be to explain it well enough to somebody that has understanding about how to develop that tool, you know, in such a way that, like Iniola Oluwa was using it to, I think it was doing for like something in chemistry, right? Previous to that, they were using another tool, maybe maths or something to solve it. AI is helping them to solve it now. So you can apply it to anything, basically. So thank you very much for your attention. Thanks. And see you.
We can do better than that, please. We can do better than that.
Sorry, I wrote something down that I don't want to forget. You know, I may say it tomorrow as well. Make the best use of YouTube. Okay? You go on TikTok, the younger ones, and you do all the TikTok there, yeah? You go on YouTube and you watch all sorts there, and before you know it, 2 hours is gone. I want to challenge you today, right? Tell yourself a topic that you want to know, then tell yourself, and don't use YouTube for the next 1 week, or except on that topic, and see what you are going to know. So when what is his name? Shegun, he spoke eloquently earlier on. I think he's an expert. When he came to me as a PhD student, there's so many of those that I didn't know, and even I didn't know as much either. YouTube, amazing. So use YouTube to your advantage. Don't let YouTube take your time from you. Use YouTube, use all these tools for your development. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Prof. So we can do better than that, please.
الصلاة والسلام على